Hey everyone, every now and then I tip out all of my leftover pieces onto my desk and I try and create some cards. In this instance, I've got these 3-part panels that I had in my stash, and I decided that they would create a really cool base on a really dark card. So I'm using black here. These are A2, so they're 5.5 by 4.25 inches. The panels fit quite nicely on top, and I've got a pretty good balance of sentiments and then other images in my stash. So by the time I sort through them, I'm pretty confident I'll be able to use up some of the stash, definitely not everything, but some of it to create some cards. My standard approach is to lay everything out on my desk and create piles of similar items. That way I can create multiples of the same card and then work my way through my stash, just creating more and more as I go. I often don't use my entire stash in one go. I just create a nice bundle of cards, put them aside, and then I'll come back to my stash at a later date. I will put some links up in the top right hand corner if there's anything in here that is related to a previous video that I have already launched, just in case something piques your interest and you'd like to see more. For these first few, I'm using some of these leftover flowers, and they match really well with this black, red, and white. So I'm literally just adding 2 to the card. The sentiment strip was already on these, so it's literally just the flowers that I'm adding to finish them off. And I'm using 1 big flower and 1 small flower on each because it just creates a little odd balance on the left-hand side. If everything's too symmetrical, in my view, the card doesn't look as nice. Next, I'm moving on to the orange panels, and for these I'm starting to dig through a little Ziploc that I have here of leftovers from a card project that I did using a uniquely creative card kit. It was called Teenage Spirit, and I will put a link up in the top right. I did 2 videos with this kit, so I'll link one and then I'll link the second. The first one was recreating the sample cards from the website, and then the second was creating my own cards using as much as I could of the card kit. In my view, they turned out really, really well, and I did stretch myself by doing some techniques that I don't normally do, so it would be an interesting one for you to check out. I absolutely love these sailboats. When I created them, I used my Misty, and I think I created 80 to 90 of these little boats. They are really cool. They have saved me when I've been working on some of the card projects, like the Kendra's Card Challenge, where you need to add some elements of interest to a card design. And I've been able to grab some of these out of my stash. But I did decide it was time to use a few more of them up and use them on the project today. The next one is using these Sending a Summer Hello. These really are a great focal point on a card, and you can see here I'm just trying to figure out, do I have it at the top? Do I have it at the bottom? Do I have it centered? And once I figured out where I wanted to put it, I then counted how many I had, and I created enough bases so that I could attach 1 to each card. I think there's about 9 or 10 of these in total. And it's literally just a matter of adding the liquid glue and attaching the panel to the front of the card. In all of the cards that I created today, they were so close to finished. So I never throw out any elements. I put them aside, and then when I get finally sick of having such a big pile next to me, I then do one of these sessions where I just sit down and run through and finalize some cards so nothing goes to waste. I'm curious, when you do a card project, do you always have leftovers? Do you create more than you need so that you've deliberately got leftovers that you can use for another project? I wonder, I'm assuming that there's some people that create just what they need, and there's others that are like me who always have leftovers just in case. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a curse sometimes because it makes you feel like you never ever finish anything, but I am creating some nice cards here, so I guess that's the benefit. And this session to create these cards, I think it was about an hour. I was able to really work through and create a big volume of cards quite quickly. All right, so these ones here are very similar to the layout that I used when I created the cards originally using the boat. So again, another link up the top to that video. And these sentiments from Lawn Fawn that stretch all the way across a card, I love that they are such a big focal point on the card. The You Are So Awesome is perfect. They're also great for if you donate cards to others. I'll put a link below to as many of the products as I can. And if there are products that I know are retired, I will list them below, but tag them as retired, just so that you know I haven't forgotten to include them. Apologies, but there are quite a few things that I use that are retired. I'd like to continue to use my supplies, so I will continue to use them even if they're no longer available. This sentiment that you could not be more awesome is, again, another one that I absolutely love. And with an interesting background and just this sentiment, I'm calling the card complete. I'm not adding any other gems or embellishments or any other small things to it. I'm just keeping it nice and plain and neutral. And I really think it would be a fantastic thank you card that someone would really, really enjoy. Because I've used black cards today, I have put a layer inside, like a paper layer, so that there is something to write on. I've also put a few links here to some videos I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.